Here in the Milsurp world, you might hear people argue over what the first battle rifle was. You're not going to hear that many people argue over what the last battle rifle was. Fabrique Nationale, 1949. Egyptian contract. It's an animal. Just check it out. Milsurp Garage, Fabrique Nationale, model 1949. This one is chambered in 7.92 by 57 Mauser, or 8mm Mauser, more commonly called. Semi-automatic, gas-operated, short-stroke piston tilting bolt, 10-round internal mag that's stripper-fed. These are Belgian-made. This one is an Egyptian contract. 23-inch barrel. It's produced from 1948 to 1956. The Egyptian contract had 176,000 some odd rifles made. Oh, sorry, that's total. The Egyptian contract, 37,641. 176,000 of these made total, just about. And yeah, these Egyptian contract ones were 1948. So this actually, the 1948 date actually predates the date and the name of the rifle, which is unusual. So listen, I'm going to talk a little bit about the contracts, a little bit about its history of when it was put together, how. But we really delve into like form and function here. So I got info, but here's the main thing. We're going to be looking at our patents, of course. Dieudonné Saive. He's going to sound familiar. Check out the Browning High Power, Baby Browning videos I have up here. This guy was basically, his real claim to fame was the designer of the FN-FAL, which was the successor to this rifle. But doesn't mean that he didn't put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this thing and that it's not awesome. This is kind of like a little bit of a forgotten rifle. So the reason for that is it took so long to come out for various reasons. It had like a bunch of things working against it coming out quickly. Let's put it that way. We had a designer that was very nitpicky. We had a major world war. There's a lot of stuff going on. So Saive, Dieudonné Saive. He was the chief designer for Fabrique Nationale after John Browning's death in 1926. He was a disciple of John Browning. Like I said, he's the one that helped finish the Browning High Power. This guy really knew what he was doing. He's a brilliant firearms designer, but his designs came to him a little bit different. He definitely sat there crunching away at these things. He spent a lot of time on his designs, whereas John Browning used to say he just just woke up and had it all in his head. Whether John Browning was a very religious guy, so maybe he thought it was a divine thing, these designs, or even if he was attributing them to himself, he would admit that that's how it happened. And the time spent sitting at the drawing board was really just putting all of that stuff into like actual motion. That the designs from beginning to end, this is what he would say, that the entire thing would all just be laid out in a dream. He'd wake up and quickly sketch it all out and have to quickly get the operation, the idea behind its operation down on paper before he would forget, because he just had the whole thing. And that's pretty amazing. And I believe him, because look at how these designs were. He would just show up one day and be like, got another one, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to see the normal guys take years to make these kinds of designs. So But I think Mr. Saive, I think he was a little more towards the taking a long time kind of thing. 1930s, he started working on these things, and he was working on recoil operated designs. Um, and into the into around that time, you had the SVT, you had the SKS, the M1 Garand, of course. You had some gas operated guns being thrown in the mix there. So he definitely had a lot to be, let's say, influenced by. If you looked at an SKS or an SVT, I was going to bring them up here and show them on the table, but I didn't want to start doing all those comparisons. I really didn't want to. Once again, this thing needs to be in the spotlight. I don't need to, once I get an SVT up on this table, I'm going to be spending half an hour on how that thing functions. We could do comparison videos sometime in the future. Let's just take a look at how this guy works. That's the main thing that I want to show you is what Dieudonné Saive figured out his idea of gas operation, and it's a great one. It really is a great one. Whether he borrowed it or not, who knows? I mean, everybody was influenced. If you made a car back then with 4 tires, do you really think that somebody would say you're biting off a Ford? I mean, that was just the way things were. You would design things kind of like for what was going on at that time. Gas operation was coming in. Everybody had their own way of doing it. I want to check out the way this guy was doing it. So the 30s, he was experimenting with designs. He experimented with recoiled operated designs in the early 30s, leading to gas operated prototypes in the 37. They shared characteristics with this rifle. So there's in the late 30s is when this type of design really started coming into play with this rifle that he was making. So in 38 and 39, he was still in development. He had a 5-round version, gas operated, that was about to be marketed, but Germany, right at that moment, is when Germany was invading Poland. In Europe, that really put a hold on a lot of things. You know what I mean? And that just pretty much that put a hold on everything until Germany invaded Belgium, which is where FN is, in Liège. They invaded Belgium in 1940. They occupied Liège, FN's factory. He was lucky enough to escape to England via Portugal, Saive, in 1949, 1941, where he kept working on this rifle. And a couple of years later, 1943, the Royal Small Arms Factory, Enfield, ordered 50 prototypes designated XP1, and they referred to these as the SLEM1, self-loading experimental model, and they were based on his prototypes. And they ordered 2,000 rifles, but he was having, Saive at that time, making these prototypes, these 2,000 prototypes, was having gas pressure moderation problems. I'm going to show you inside when we get in here how he fixed that. But with the gas operation, it's very, very dependent on the ammo. You have one country might load, or they're wanted in their own chamberings, even not so much how much they would load it. Like Egypt, this is an Egyptian contract rifle. They wanted it in 8mm. Other countries maybe wanted it in 7mm Mauser, or in the Argentine round. I mean, like all different time. They all have different pressures. So he was having some problems there with the British. I guess what were they chambered in for the British? I should have that information. I'm asking you. I'm not even sure. I assume maybe it was 303. But at the end of World War II came anyway, so the contract was canceled. That was the end of it. So the British were bailing. Saive took his design, returned back to Liège, 1944, when it was liberated. And he continued on this design till he finalized it in 1947. He finalized it, not caliber specific, because now the gas could be adjusted for different ammo. And the contracts rolled in. Now, these are weird countries. I'm going to explain to you what went on with these contracts, right? So The communist countries, they all use Soviet stuff. That was it. So just eliminate any of the Soviet. No Soviet countries were ordering. We're going to be ordering, this a rifle from Belgium. And Western Europe, they weren't doing that either. And not only that, they had tons of World War II surplus crap laying around. They didn't even need to be ordering contracts, whatever. So who did they market to? They marketed to countries that were called non-aligned. They did not care to adopt Soviet or Western European doctrine, is how it's basically written out. Non-aligned countries. So the first contract, Venezuela, all right, and the second contract was Egyptian, and there's a ton of these contracts. I don't know. Did I write this down? So see this part? I'm not going to get into it. I've seen a million videos on this. So Argentina, Belgium, Belgian Congo, Brazil, Colombia, Egypt, Indonesia, Luxembourg. Get one of those Luxembourg ones, but I'll cut in to tell you that. Buy one of those if you see it for a decent price. And Venezuela. And Belgium had one that was selective fire, the AFN. But with a 10-round, like non-removable magazine, what you really needed to be fully automatic. This was the problem with it, is that, think about it, the AK-47 came out in 47. It's an AK-47, removable mags, that's fully auto. You could see that by the time this thing was coming out in 47, 48, it was, wasn't that the Soviet countries, the communist countries bought Soviet just to buy Soviet. They were buying some pretty cool stuff, you know what I mean? This thing kind of like, it was already outdated by the time it came out. So Egypt loved them though. They fought a bunch of wars with this thing. Where do I have that written down? There was actually a war between like Egypt and Great Britain. These are all in the 1880s. I read this. This is what I read. The FN rifle in Egyptian service. I read this. This was fascinating. There's a lot of information on here. And it was interesting to see, Egypt's history. I didn't know they had so much, like influence from European stuff. Kind of thought they were isolated, but I was wrong. And what else do we got here? We got a lot of paperwork. This is all. I was going to talk a lot about the history. I had this all here. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just reiterating. I could just, instead of doing my own research, I could just get the stuff right off of YouTube. What I want to do is, I don't really see many people getting inside this thing and discussing how it works. So you know what? Let's just end it here with the history. It's an Egyptian rifle, King Farouk Royal Cipher, right there. That's the King Farouk Royal Cipher. It's got some Farsi writing on it. I love Farsi writing. There's some Farsi serial numbers, and most importantly, there is the Fabrique Nationale, Herstal, Belgium. Yeah, Farsi. To find out the distance that you're shooting, you have to speak Farsi. I had to count now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm getting there. I'm learning it. Trust me. Look, this is what, for this video, this is where I'm putting my, when I take the screws out and stuff, this is where it's going. This is my screw tray. Tell me that I'm not an Egypt fan. Made in Egypt. I'm not fooling around here. This is old, and I love this thing. Yes, we're very big fans of Egypt here at the Milsurp Garage. And this was actually very similar to that EXP1 that was developed in England. It didn't change much after that as far as these Egyptian contract ones go. So let's check out. Let's look at his the tilt locking breech block for automatic firearms. We're going to get into this. What does that mean? Tilt locking breech block. This is an awesome patent. I suggest you pull these and read them. Read the whole thing. See, this one isn't much text. It's good pictures. So you got to understand this function right here if you're going to be getting into firearms. Here's the patent right there. These are American patents too. These are not Belgian ones. So you just pull these Google patents and you just put a US and then that number, and you'll find them. You'll pull them up. Tilt locking breech block for automatic firearms. Is this the same patent? I'm sorry. I'm showing you the same patent twice. There's just this one. Why would the tilt locking breech block be the most important thing going on here with this patent? We're going to check it out. It's not just gas operation that's important. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on. See, something about this that looks weird. If you could tell what that is, that looks weird. There's something right here going on that looks weird. That's going to be where the tilt locking breech block matters. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to get into this? We're going to take it apart first. Gas operation is very interesting because normally you don't see anything. And all you really see, usually there's like something funky going on up here, and you're not really sure what. Because there is something over here that's just a little odd looking. Let me see, is it better to kick that light on? Does that help? That light rarely helps. Usually it just causes a lot of shadows. But we need a little bit more light this time. Let's maybe if I angle this a little bit better. All right, let's try it. So yeah, you see something funky up here on the gas operated guns, because this is where it's taking the gas from. It's never really taking the gas from over here, because and you say, well, the bolt is right here, so why isn't the gas stuff here where it's operating? It relies on pressure, gas pressure. So if it in the barrel, obviously, is where the pressure is. So if the bullet starts heading down the barrel, let's just say there's an explosion here and the bullet's heading down the barrel. Behind it is all this pressure. If there was a hole right here, as soon as this would be exposed, all this pressure would be going up. It's almost like too much. There's such an incredible amount of pressure behind the bullet in the barrel that they don't even need to start tapping gas over here. It would be out of control. It'd be too much gas. They wait literally till the bullet's almost out. Right here, it's out. Once the bullet passes here, let's say there's a hole in the barrel right here that just goes up into this area. We're going to get in there, but let's just say there's a hole. So I want to start from the beginning. When the bullet passes here, now that pressure that's behind it is pushing the barrel out, the bullet out, but it also starts traveling up this little orifice that's right here into this area. So once the bullet passes here, now the pressure is coming in here, doing its thing as the bullet travels to right here. When the bullet leaves here, out the barrel, all pressure drops because it all just dumps out behind the bullet out of the 0.3 inch hole that's right here. So that's the only, you'll see every gun that taps gas taps it from around the same area. Now, once you're tapping gas, there's a few different things you can do with it. Direct gas impingement takes that gas and puts it through an orifice directly that strikes the bolt. It's kind of like a newer system. The older systems from around this time actually used a piston. And when they say short stroke piston, what they mean is, say the M1 Garand, you've seen an M1 Garand, the piston is connected by a metal rod that runs along here. See, this is where it would be helpful to have my M1 Garand laying on the table, but I'm not going to take away from this guy. So there's just a rod, an op rod, where the piston moves back this far, the bolt moves back that far. It's just directly connected. So that's long stroke piston. Short stroke piston means that this piston that's in here only needs to move really about that much between my two fingers. That's all it moves. And we're going to take a look. It's in there. We're going to take a look. All it moves enough where that gas, see, there's a piston riding right up here with a rod. It's a piston down here with a rod that runs up here. And that rod gets hit with the gas pressure in the piston, and all it does is go, it just hits the bolt. That pulse of the gas as the bullet leaves the barrel, as the bullet goes from here to here, it makes a pulse of gas up here, down here, that just is enough for the op rod to hit the bolt and cause it to travel all the way back, eject around, and come all the way forward. That's what the gas operation does. That's how we're going to see inside how that happens. But one important thing, this is where Saive's patent comes in, is that it can't just be blowback. It can't just be that when it fires, when the bullet, the propellant is pushing the bullet down the barrel with all that pressure behind it. Obviously, it's going to want to push the case backwards with the bolt this way, right? And you can't have that happen, because it's going to expose the brass case right here. And the brass case, there's no way that thin brass case is going to be able to hold all that pressure in. Look at how thick the barrel needs to be to hold all that pressure in. So if this opened up when that bullet is still traveling this way down the barrel, bullet's traveling down, this opens, it's going to blow that brass case to pieces. And all the gas is all going to come fly out of here. Nothing's going to be left to go down here. By the time the bullet's even close to over here, this will have opened up and just blah, right in your face. So this has to lock. How does this lock? It locks by tilting down into a recess and actually getting hooked in there and being locked. So this is and that's not the bolt, that's the breech block. What's it called? Tilting breech block. That's the breech block. So you see, this is the bolt. This right here is the bolt. See, the bolt is moving, but the breech block down there, it's not. So even when the gas hits the bolt, right here, the gas hits the rod, the piston, then the rod strikes the bolt, and it comes right out of there. You could see it. See the piston, right? The op rod right in there. It strikes the bolt, and you're going to see on the bolt face, there's actually a mark where it hits. Take a look at that. It's tough at this angle. It even hits it, and it even travels back this far without unlocking. Still hasn't unlocked. And this space right here, it needs this time right here. Why? When it hits here is because the gas is already pushing that rod and opening the bolt. But the bullet is still here, still on its way. And that time has to be taken up with the bolt opening, with this still locked down here. That still has to have that round. That's where the round is on this, the breech block, the silver part in the chamber. See, so you could move the bolt with the breech block just sitting still. And let's take a look at that. So we could open this right here. You could literally take this off. So this spring right here is just a spring that gives the bolt its springiness to spring back and then return and pick up the next round. So we're going to turn this upside down. Take this spring. It's like a double spring. It's like a spring in a spring. So it has like a variable rate. Starts off traveling at a certain speed, then the other spring comes into play. You know, that's how kind of like how it works. It's less springy, and the further you push it, the more tension it gets. Which, I mean, most springs will act that way, but with the dual spring, you could actually tailor it to exactly how you want. And then here's the bolt itself. You see how when I start moving the bolt, that breech block does not move. We can actually take the bolt and the breech block out of here completely and drop it. And when we do that, we can see that they go together like this, theoretically, right? Do I have it the right way? Yeah. So this is how it goes together. And you can see that camming motion right there. Here's the tilting we're talking about. Because this surface that you see right back here, that's the locking surface. So when this is shut, this bolt is locked right in here. See that step right there? That's where you'll actually hear this click into place. See that? Right there. That's the only amount of play that you'll feel in there. That is where it sits when here's your here's where the hammer strikes the firing pin right here. Boom. And here's the tilt, because when it's tilted, it's locked. It's funny because it's actually locked when it's straight. It's actually unlocked when it's tilted. That's a good trivia question. Does the FN 1949, does the bolt tilt to lock? People will be like, yeah, absolutely. That's the patent. It's tilts to lock. Nope. It's straight. It's straight and flat when it's locked, right? I might remember wrong. Wait a minute. Which way is it tilted? No, I guess it actually does tilt to lock. Well, it tilts up to unlock and it tilts down to lock. It's not really straight in either of the positions. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, that's the position where it fires. And when the bolt starts moving is where it allows, you saw how when I slid it back and forth, how it went up and down camming. So as the bolt slides back, it's able to lift. Then and only then will the motion of the bolt after getting struck by the op rod be able to carry the breech block backwards. All right. That was lesson 1. Let's check out some more. Let's get this magazine off. We can pry a little catch right here off, right? Can we? Will we be able to? I think so. Whoa, and there we go. So the magazine is a regular magazine, but it's just nothing, it's not like just a detachable box all held together. It's just kind of like has the same follower and spring. It's just a mess that clips into the rifle. It's funny how you wouldn't think that next step was a hard one to come by. Just, containerize that and then you could just slap them in and out. For some reason, that took a real long time to put together. Kind of odd. So what are we going to do now? Now let's, you know what? I just want to get this sling out of my way. So I'm going to just unscrew the sling mount in the rear here. I know I'm off camera. I'm sorry, but I just want to get this out of here so we can move the sling. So I just took this off. So I want to put it back so I don't lose anything. These things are they're elusive when it comes time to reassemble. You never find these if you let them scatter. Now, one pain in the neck here, in order to disassemble it, I'm going to move this over here. We're going to take a look in here. One thing, see this stock, you look at that, you're like, this is so beautiful. I'll talk about a few things that have to do with, the history. So C.A.I, Century Arms Importers, is that who they are? Century Arms International? Something like that. C.A.I, you've seen it on some of your guns, the import marks. I know you've seen them. They're nice. They usually put like very small, unobtrusive import marks. They've been importers of these Milsurps for years. They bought up a bunch of these and they restocked them. I don't know if they had a company make the stocks. They made the stocks. I don't know. But usually when you see these, the Egyptian ones, they have a stock disc right here. They have a brass metal butt plate. This is a plastic butt plate. And it's, I guess you'd consider it a cheap stock. I guess that would be the word you'd use for it. And this sling, I guess you could use the word cheap, but to me, I kind of liked it. I had seen some of these FN 1949s before, various contract ones that were just dogged. And I kind of liked this when I saw it because I was just like, wow, the stock is like new. And I know it's not authentic. Like, I know it's been restocked and I know it's an importer that did that. But for some reason, this is where my interest lied. I was just attracted to it. being that the stock was so nice and that, you know, the rest of it was in decent shape too, of course, but you know, I just I dug it. And this is the one that I wanted to go with. So let's see. The barrel band. You want to be careful not to gouge up and dog any of these screws. You want to make sure you pick bits that just stand up inside the screw heads. Like, you should even be able to shake them and not get rid of them, because once the screwdriver jumps in these screw heads, it makes them work. This is going to pop open. I know it. Yeah. And these are a pain in the neck. I'll tell you right now. This is going to be a pain. Reason being, at least we can get the sling out of the way now. But the reason why they're a pain is because this is a captive screw. Okay? And you have to open this up wide enough to get it over the wood. You're tempted to want to slide it down this way and over the sight, but when the wood looks like this, you don't want to do that. So I'm going to hold it in a way where I'm going to be able to go over. And that's that. And by going over, you might put some scratches, but at least they're inside this channel. And that's how I'm going to do it. All right. Remind me, we still got a couple of things we're still going to check out. We're going to check out with some snap caps here. We're going to check out some loading. We're going to check out the different stripper clips. Of course, thanks to our realistic snap caps here, we have these snap caps with us. They hooked us up with some 8 mils, and we are good to go. So we can do 10. I think I had a set of 5 from them, but I needed another set to be able to show how the full 10 go in there. Plus, of course, what Milsurp is, you know, without a bayonet. Look at this bayonet. Oh, we'll talk about it. Hang in there. Don't go anywhere. Yeah. The wood comes off. Okay, 1, 2. So these 4-end covers, these things come off, and you could shoot the rifle like this with obviously with the bolt on, but with the bolt and the top cover on, and you could actually just like watch its operation as you shoot. So here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the system. Let me get all this stuff out of here. I need this room to be able to slide the rifle down. Making room. I don't need any of those notes. I printed out so much history on this thing. Dig it. I mean, check out the history. It's interesting. I didn't want to like reiterate, you know. I noticed that not many people were talking about the fascinating design here, and this is what's cool. So what happens here is the gas gets tapped right here. There's a gas plug here. The reason why they put this plug is you could basically turn the gas on and off. So this is like a plug where when it's sitting in this configuration, it has an orifice that allows the gas to pass through, up and out like that. And if you turn this 180 degrees, it would lock back into place. And it says on it, this probably says gas. The other side might say grenade or something like that. Reason being, they used to have adapters that clipped on the barrels, and they would put a grenade inside of it and launch grenades with that device. And if they didn't want the action cycling at that point, they wanted all the gas, all the pressure pushing the grenade to go as far as possible. So you could turn the gas system off. And I mean, if you wanted to do that, you could do that too. And the bolt, well, this op rod won't move at all. And you would be able to, then you'd have to cycle it manually. It'd be interesting to see if you did like velocity tests and see if it affected. They say that this operation saps nothing out of the velocity of the bullet. It'd be interesting to test it like that. So how do we begin to start opening this up? We'll get into what's here. Well, I'll show you. This is the gas regulation area. This is what regulates the gas, and you see it. You can turn this. You see. Now, when I'm turning this, you're seeing this. It looks like different orifices, like you're allowing gas to go through different orifices. That's not what it is. Interesting. We're going to get into that. Let's open this up though. So what we do is we press this in and we turn this just 90 degrees. See, I always use these wood dowels. You don't want to scratch anything. And then you got to kind of work this and play with it. But it will come out. There we go. And there's where you could see, oops, sorry. You could see that's where it lets the gas through. And if you were to turn it 180 degrees, it wouldn't. And that says something different. Oh, it doesn't say anything on the bottom. They lied to me. Well, I guess that just says gas. I guess it doesn't say grenade. Gas on. I don't know what that says. Anybody speak Farsi or read it? Please go in the comments and tell me what that says. And do my research for me. Thank you. Now here's what's interesting. Not that the whole thing isn't interesting. You could see inside that hole right there that you could see the piston moving right now. Check this out. There's two things that you can do with gas when you regulate it. You could either send all the gas in and regulate what you're sending in. So in other words, you regulate what you're sending, and then whatever you're sending, you send 100% of it. Does that make any sense? Or the flip side of the coin, maybe it'll make more sense if you knew. The flip side of the coin is you send all the gas in, and then you have a hole that bleeds off some of it. And then the rest of it is what operates the action. So I know they sound like the same thing, but they're not. Most of the time, this is how they regulate. They regulate by sending all of it in, but having a blow off, having like a blow off valve. So the blow off is this hole right here. So I got to get something to point with. Not sure if I made much sense with what I was saying, but I'm trying to remember who it was who schooled me so well. I think it was Mark Novak. Do you know Anvil, Mark Novak's channel? Check that out and look up. Not sure even if it was on this rifle. Might have even been on this rifle he was talking about, but on some semi-automatic gas-operated rifle, he was talking about how the gas systems work as far as regulation. And this right here is the hole that the gas blows off. This hole right here and these holes, this is nothing but for a tool you're supposed to use to turn this. But this is so clean. This gets really carboned up and gunked up. And it was like that when I bought it. This took many, many nights of polishing, cleaning, scraping to get this clean. And where you just turn this by hand. And what happens is, see, as I turn this, see how I'm blocking off this orifice? That's all it is. This is how I test this. Since I bought this, I have not fired it. But here's what you do. See, now I have it now I'm almost getting full gas. And if you turn this all the way, all the gas would be pushing back. You don't want to do that because you don't know. You could be beating the receiver to crap. The bolt could be slamming back. So what you want to do is you want to start with this orifice totally open. So you're bleeding as much as you can bleed like this. This hole is totally uncovered here. So you're bleeding off as much gas as you possibly can. Then if it doesn't cycle when you shoot, you just keep closing this more and more, blocking off more and more of the venting. Whereas the other option I was telling you is that the control would be that you're just controlling the total amount that you're sending in. Somehow that seems the same, but there is a difference. So here's the piston. Let's get into this whole operation with the thing now. So the piston, I can just slide it right out of here. So this is the piston. It kind of looks like a piston for a car engine, right? This is where the gas acts against it, and this rides in a bore. And here's where it changes to be from piston to op rod. Here's the op rod spring, and that's the flat part that contacts the bolt. And where does it contact the bolt? Where is the bolt? I put it over here. It contacts the bolt right there. So that shot right there, just goes, just a push to make it slide all the way back and all the way forward. And I'm telling you, there's nothing else in here. Look at that. It's all empty now. This whole channel through here, everything. That's just the top of the barrel. And this would be considered the gas, the whole, where the whole enchilada happens. This is the part that's hard to clean out. You can start taking more of that, the rest of it apart, but to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy. Let's see if I pull anything out of there. I'm gonna pull. Let's get a patch. I'm gonna get a couple of patches. Let's see, since I have it open, let's check out. Let's see what's going on in there. How clean is it? A little ballistol on a patch. And let's go in here. See what we got. Not bad, but got something out. Yep, and if you have any issues where it's not cycling at all, that orifice in here could be completely plugged. That could be your problem. Be careful. Don't route the thing out with something that's going to make the hole bigger, because it's very, very sensitive to how big you make that hole. And yeah, see, this is here's the shot that it gives, right? That's all it does. Every time you fire, boom, boom, just a little bump, a short stroke. There you go. All right, so we got our gas. Let's put our gas back in. So how it's like this. All right, let's get back in the camera view. I hope I'm not missing a lot of this off camera. That definitely has to face down. Yeah, so you want to go in here like this, and we push it and we turn. Oop, almost went too far. I did go too far. Let's go back, and it clicks into place right there. That's where it goes. Yeah, I don't even. This barrel band is gonna be crazy. If I skip, there's two things that are crazy now. One thing that's super annoying is getting these wings right here. Maybe I should have been zoomed out a little bit the whole time. Getting these little wings right here into here. And it can get a little annoying. Let's see if we could do it on the first shot. Oh, wait a minute. Is it possible? No, of course not. There we go. All right, that wasn't so bad. That goes there. Then this goes here. Now the barrel band. Oh, I think I'm going to skip ahead. But if it does, if I have to edit, I apologize. I'm going to stand it up. I have a stand-up thing right here. Oh, that'll help. There we go. All right. Now we spread this. Go down and over. Not bad. Not bad. But that's not really the hard part. The real hard part is not cross-threading this and getting this in there. That's the hard part. Maybe upside down. I was going to take, you know what? I realize now, I had all the screw bits ready to take all of this apart. I really don't think that's necessary. I mean, we've all seen what trigger groups look like. There's nothing really special going on down there. He didn't patent any of that. So I think I'm just gonna let it chill right here. I wonder if I push this. This is another way that they wind up getting gouged. Let me see. All right, if I get in the screw head right here. People that have these will respect this. Doing this on camera and actually getting it done. Nope. Come on, get in there. Oh my lord. No. Nope. Nope. It's so tensioned. It's so incredibly tensioned. You almost need like, I got an idea. I've never tried this before. This would be the first time. That's not big enough though. Oh wait, there you go. That's the larger side. Thinking if I had like a piece of leather to put across it, I could squeeze it shut. You know what? I have done it by hand before. Let's not start getting gougy tools involved. Look at that right there. That's it. See, I could squeeze it together with my fingers, but then not with the screwdriver in there. I'm afraid if I slip, it's going to go right through my finger. Did I get it? I think I got it. I got it. Imagine the sling's upside down. The sling's upside down. You know what? It's easier to take the sling off than it is to get that done again. So, of course, the sling could have gone either way. Of course, it has to be upside down. And you know what? I'm just going to fix that right now, too. That ain't going to take long. Boom. All right. Let's feed it. It doesn't go this way. It goes this way. Nice. Which side would you put facing out? Over here. Would you put the screw facing out? I would say you would put the screw facing out because when the sling is on, you would want the most comfortable side towards your body, right? So that would be this way. Let's get the larger bit. Because even though this is just a cheap sling, why gouge up, why gouge up any screw slot? Sorry, bumping the camera. And that's back. And then we'll move down to here. We're going full circle here. It's interesting that gas design, right? When you really start playing around with that, you're gonna like that. Trust me. When you start, I know a lot of you guys. You know how all this works. So I'm not saying like I'm talking about something revolutionary here, but together we help out. The new guys. You remember the day you sat and you figured out how that gas operation really works. I remember with me, it was the M1 carbine. A lot of people like it was the Grand. It was the first gas operation that they messed around with or paid attention to. But with me, it was the M1 carbine. It was so much more mysterious to me for some reason. I don't know why, but Carbine Williams. That's a little bit more. It's another interesting design. So how simple, right? How simple is this thing? And now the bolt. Get the bolt and the breech block back in. There's a spot. There's a spot where it fits. It's right there. There it is. And this top cover, once again, spring, Goes inside the bolt. This tab cover, we make sure we have this tab in the up position. You come up and over, locks on there, boom. And the magazine, of course. You just want to be careful you don't pinch the spring. I think it has a little bit of trouble when the bolt is closed. So I'm going to try to, hopefully there's enough tension on it like this to lock the bolt open. No, there isn't. Maybe putting this in first will help. That is the right position right there. I think that will help. I think that is a better way to do it. Yep. And there we go. Let's check out the bayonet. What an awesome bayonet this is. These are all made in Belgium, but they're made under the different contracts as well. I could have scored an Egyptian one when I got one, but it was kind of beat up. I really liked the way this matched the rifle, because it matched like the wood of the rifle. And is there a cooler bayonet like these? The ones that mount and they're on there solid. What a rig this is, you know? Oof. I like this nice. I like these nice short ones that go on like real strong, you know, wood. These are nice. I love this bayonet. And the scabbard is nice matching numbers scabbard, you know. And what's cool about this one is sometimes you always wonder which way to put the bayonet in, you know, because it might feel like scratchy one way or not right. You don't want to mess up the blade. With this one, where the ring is, there's a recess in the scabbard. You see it? Put a flat side on the scabbard for that reason being, with the scabbard on the bayonet, it will fit through the ring of the barrel because of that flat spot there. Pretty cool, right? So you could keep it on here with the cover on it, with the scabbard on it. That's pretty cool. So at least you know which way it goes, you know. And then loading. Ooh, let's do this. Let's see if I fall apart here at the end of the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple of sandbaggy things here just to get this right up. Let's get this right into position. So loading. We have, again, realistic snap caps. Thank you. Check them out. These things are awesome. They're for drills like this. You can't use plastic, man. And anything painted is just going to chip them and destroy them. This rifle is not fooling around. And you want it to be realistic. And that's why they're called realistic snap caps. Check out the website. If you get anything from them, use my coupon code. It's Milsurp Garage, one word. You get 10% off from them on anything, on your entire order. MILSURPGARAGE. These guys do not pay me, I promise. I just love the product. And I got in touch with the manufacturer. And nice guy, nice people, nice company, American made, everything about it. I just love everything about this company. And I love featuring them on here, and they love giving me stuff to feature. So it's a beautiful relationship. Now you see how a round just fell out of the snap cap? Oh, this is going to be bumping into cameras. Rounds are falling out. Let me explain these stripper clips, first of all. These stripper clips are the ones you used to throw away. Those are the Egyptian ones. Remember these? They're like the ones from, you know, the actual K98 and the 8mm Mauser ones that have this like flat piece that they go up against and everything is nice and springy, beautiful. They slide right into the freaking Mauser. No, not these. These are like these just one piece ones with these tabs on the back here, and they're horrible. But this is the one. Now I know where those came from. And they only go in one way. And look, I put a mark on here. The way they go in. Why that is, I don't know. But look, it wouldn't go in that way, right? Now watch, if I slide it in here, it'll go right to the bottom. Don't know why that is. But whatever. This is what the Egyptians dealt with. Let's see if I could do this. I'm not grabbing rounds and pointing them and pushing with that. I'm not doing any of that. I'm doing what you would do in the battlefield. Just stick it right in there. Shove it down. Let's shove it down. Shove it in there. There we go. We got those. Now, the hard part. See, again, I marked it. See the mark on there? That means that's the side that fits. That goes in. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on. Nope. It fell apart. It fell apart. Let's try that again. I did. You know what? I did this video twice. And the first time I did the video, everything about the video sucked. I didn't like it. Talking about the history was boring. It was horrible. The only thing that worked was that I loaded both stripper clips like a boss. And I knew that would never happen again. So the first 5 rounds shouldn't be that bad. Let's see. Yeah, see, there you go. Hey, that's the best that's ever gone in there, to tell you the truth. That seems like to be like the right angle to shove them in there. Yeah, that's about where it would sit. And then, okay. All right, listen. That was. If you have problems with the falling out, you could bend this tab a little bit more. Don't want to go too crazy. Now that should hold it a little better. Now the other one fell out. Yeah, make a video that's a little bit more interesting on just the design, and then you can't load it. There it goes. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. We're Egyptian. We're in a war. I promise. Let's go. It's not doing it. All right. So I knew that'd be a failure. Maybe I'll just put the clip in there of me loading it. It's stuck too. The stripper clip is literally stuck. Ugh, horrible. Garbage stripper clips. Here, I'm going to show you what I like to do. I sit at the range. I swear, this is what I like to do. Sit there like a gentleman. I love that feeling. Why would anyone use stripper clips? Oh, I love how that feels. I used to remember the day of watching Hickok 45 with those big, huge 6'9" thumbs. Pushing rounds in there. Yeah. Those were the days. Ugh, stripper clips are disgusting. And, ooh, yeah. You want to talk about positive ejection? This thing is not fooling around. Now, again, I just want you guys to understand, we don't even have a primer in here. Do not fool around like this with live ammunition. This is the kind of gun where you let a bolt slam home and the round's in there crooked. You definitely could have enough of a primer shot. You don't want to set one of these off in your face. I'm telling you. Do not mess with live ammo. Load the gun with live ammo when you're at the range and you're going to shoot it. And then when you're doing that, don't fool around. Don't function test with the live ammo. Just shoot. If you think there's a problem, function test with these. That's what they're for. That's why they're not plastic. That's why they look real. That's why they act real. Because you want it to be as real as possible to test to see how it's working. You even want to be able to do this. Pull the trigger on it, eject it, hopefully find it, and then you want to be able to check your firing pin shot to make sure you're making contact properly. That's what these things are for. A lot of people, they criticize and they say like, well, it's dangerous. You can confuse it with live ammo. You can confuse anything. I could confuse whether the gun's loaded or not. I could confuse whether I'm using a bow and arrow or whatever. Anything can get confused. Don't get confused. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. I don't keep any ammo around here when I'm messing with the gun to test it, and then when I'm actually shooting it, I don't bring snap caps with me in the same bag that I have my live ammo. I mean, come on. Gotta start thinking. You know what I mean? Look, even slow. Dieudonné, you are the man. Yeah, it's incredibly functional. There are no hang-ups here. This thing shoots brass like 30 feet. It's sick. So I don't have any shooting video. I don't. I got to get out there with it. I'm gonna do. I'll post this without the shooting video. We're at an hour now, and it's time for us to go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna post a follow-up with some range footage. Listen, I have so much stuff to bring you. Summer got busy towards the end here. Monday is gonna be, what is that? Labor Day. Monday's gonna be Labor Day. Summer's over. You gotta give me a break. I got the new dog. Work got crazy. Everything got nuts. Taking care of a puppy is like, it's a baby. I mean, if you really care about dogs, then you're not going to be like throwing it in a cage all the time and stuff like that. It's like you're literally taking care of a baby like all the time. It's just been busy, but I'm glad I got out here with this. By the way, this is what won the poll for which rifle to feature next. And then as a joke, I picked the one that got the least amount of votes, which was the Stevens Model 15. Was that what it was? Stevens Model 15 bolt action 22. I got a bunch of 22s to put up here. I got some shotguns, some awesome shotguns to show you. One was a recommendation from somebody online. I'm going to post that. See, I listened to you guys. Somebody was like, why don't you do a video on a and then I'm like, I put that all together. I actually listened and went out and got one because he was right. They are awesome. And I'm going to post that. And yeah, you got to give me a break coming off that. It was really, really tough coming off that. What the hell is it again? The Rising. The Rising was a whole debacle. You know, guys don't. That was like 3 weeks of. Not the video. I'm just saying. Just the. It was like a torrid. Broke. I fixed it. It was. It took a lot out of me, but I'm definitely rolling again. This is a calling. I have some time off next week too, so we're hopefully gonna get a few videos rolling back to back now to make up for some lost time. And that's the FN 49. By the way, you want to talk about Grand Thumb? I'm talk about FN 1949 thumb. You gotta, jeez, watch out for this thing, man. It is not playing. And yeah, I need to learn some Farsi. I need to know what's written up there on the gas block. What the hell that says up there? And I love this rifle. I really do. Dieudonné Saive. Oh, you know what? I would have been really pissed if I would have forgot this. There's some other stuff. See, all the people that left thinking the video was over. Look at what they're gonna miss out on. Reopening the bowl. We got to get back in here. We got to load ammo. So let's just say we got 4 rounds out of 10 left in here, and we want to load it. We want to put some more ammo in there. How do you do that? So, all right, it has to be open, right? So, like, all right, open it. All right, so that round will come out, but I can't put anything in because it wants to close and load the next round. So I have to like empty all the rounds out like this, 1, 2, 3, all of them, all 4, 6, whatever, to be able to top it off. Dieudonné Saive realized there's an issue there. So what he did was he created this button. So what this button does is when you hold this down and you cycle the action, you can lock it open. And once it's locked open, you can load to your heart's content here. Do whatever you need to do. You can be pretty sure you're not going to get you're not going to get whacked with the bolt. And then when you're done, no repressing the button, just back, it'll unlock, and boom, you're closed. It's got that. What else does it have? Oh, dig this. So with these semi-automatic rifles with sliding bolts like this or whatever, you always have a spot where the bolt handle needs to travel through the receiver. Look right there. There's always a spot like that where you can get dirt in there, right? And this was an Egyptian rifle. I mean, come on, Egypt, sand, pyramids, Sphinx. So you'd worry about getting sand all poured into the action. Couldn't function good if you had sand back there, right? Dig this. This little sliding switch right here. Look at that. Covers that right up. And then when you fire or you unload, it'll open back up again. Just a simple sliding thing, doesn't affect anything, doesn't get in the way. Well, it gets in the way, but I mean, it doesn't stop anything from operating. And then when you're done, you slide it. You just keep it like this. You keep it closed, slide it closed, nice. How do you like that? The safety. Check out the safety. It's the Saive. Safety comes down like that, so it blocks the trigger. It's one of those interesting safeties. That's not what the safety is. I mean, if you reach back here and push the trigger, it won't go. It's not like that's what's stopping you from pulling the trigger. That's not what the safety is. There is a mechanical safety that stops the trigger movement. But you can't sit there with your finger on the trigger waiting to shoot, not realizing that you have the safety on. You're fully aware the safety's on the second that you go to shoot. And with that one-handed, obviously the safety goes on and off with the firing hand. You don't need anything extra. Like in the dark, you'd be able to see it. Speaking of in the dark, look down here. Right there. That's not a loaded chamber indicator. It's a cocking indicator. Just lets you know that the rifle is charged. The action is charged. It does not mean there's a round in there. Sometimes when there's a button poking out here, there's actually something in the chamber that shows you, you know what I mean? But not here. It does not have that. What else? I still feel like I'm forgetting something. And of course, the awesome adjustable sight, and it is a peep sight, which people love so much. Peep sights are kind of cool. I look through it. It's like a big hole with a post on the front of the barrel, and I'm looking through a hole, and there's a post there, and I'm like, I don't even know where to put anything. But when you shoot, you seem to hit right dead center. It's weird about peep sights. I'm never really sure how to line anything up, but they always shoot right on. Pretty wild. And is that it? I guess that's it. I feel like I'm forgetting a button or a switch somewhere, but if that's the case, that's the case. We are out. You all take care. Thanks to all the new subscribers. We're going to have a video coming up with Manny Grossman, who is the Manny Grossman Undercurrents, I think is the name of the channel. He is one of the leading, if not the leading, Son of Sam researcher these days going on with, on YouTube. This guy has had, I've been following him since he started with the Son of Sam stuff. And it's been fascinating. It all started with the Maury Terry book. And he's very entertaining. I like him. I reached out to him and I was like, listen, you do videos, they break down, like where the killings happened, all kinds of things. First, he would talk about a lot of conspiracy stuff. Now he's really on kind of like what my beliefs are, is that Berkowitz did the whole thing all by himself. I really didn't think there was all that craziness that every single little, they were like connecting it to Manson somehow and everything. I'm like, it's just going a little far. I think it's just some nutty Yenta mailman from Yonkers. I wouldn't put too much into it like that, you know what I mean? And he's now kind of feeling, with those same thoughts. We definitely meet eye to eye on our views on Son of Sam lore. And I realized that the one thing that seemed to be lacking was, I got a little bit of knowledge about this pistol. We got a Charter Arms Bulldog. We have one that's the exact same as Berkowitz one. You can check out my video up there. My promo for that video is one of my favorite things that I've ever done. And it's on my homepage. If you just check out the homepage for the channel, that's the video that pops up that plays. I love that video. And we agreed to do a collab. We're gonna post it up on his channel. I was just gonna have it just on his channel, but he insists. He says, "No, put it on your channel too. We fully feel free to post it up on your channel." So I guess I'll put it up here when the time comes. We just got to get some time to get together, find a place, find a time. I'm doing tons of research back again on the Charter Arms, and to tell you the truth, it's just a little intimidating. He's very, very professional about with what he does, much more professional than this channel, I feel. And I'm a little intimidated, but you guys know I'm going to do my best. We'll see what happens. And until then, we'll see you next time. Y'all take care.